Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to join in the broadcasting in live. My name is Vito Zhou, and I'm the product marketing manager of Hytera in the PoC product line. And welcome again. My presentation today, the main topic is infinite communication with Hytera PoC solution. And the key topics covered today is as the following. What scenarios are suitable for the PoC, and what new PoC tech terminals and solutions we will provide in next year, as well as what successful cases the Hytera have in this market. Okay, let's get started. And my presentation today is based on the PoC solution. My presentation today will take three parts. The first part is the PoC industrial overview. In this part, we will record how the PoC development and what kind of solution the PoC could give and what kind of advantages the PoC solution could bring about. And in the second part, I will show you the PoC solution that Hytera provided, including the total system and including the command and dispatching, including the command and dispatching, including the recording, and including the terminals, and to show you that how would they work together to bring about a brilliant solution. And the last part, the third part, I will share with you some of our outstanding successful stories of the PoC market. Okay, let's get started. What is the PoC? The PoC, PoC, is an abbreviation of push to talk over cellular, and because what we understand, the push to talk services is based on the trend lines, based on trend services like the Hytera or DMR, the two major standards in PMR, in the traditional PMR solutions. But being different with the traditional PMR solutions, the PoC is based on the 4G LTE network to provide the more broadband bandwidth as well as more abundant services like the radio, like the data. What the major benefits that the PoC service could give us? First one is free from the limitation of frequency resources, because we know that for any government in the world, the frequency resources is quite valuable. And if you want to deploy a new PMR services, no matter it's in the Hytera or the DMR, you need to apply for the frequencies that you need to use in this area, and you need to pay a lot of money on it. But for the PoC services, because the base carrier is based on the 4G LTE that already deployed before, so you don't need to pay this kind of money. And the second one is reduce the investment for deploying network. Just as I have mentioned that you don't need to make investment on deploying a new Hytera or new DMR network. And the second, to the large capacity that the 4G bring to us, and the PoC services could provide larger capacity for the video services, for the data services, as well as more flexible group services. And because the 4G LTE network is global, it's in the globe level, so it's sharply increased the mobility of the workforce. And maybe in the traditional, the Hytera or DMR, maybe just 10 kilometers or maximum 25 kilometers in a range, but for the LTE, theoretically, the distance could be infinite and with no limitation for the distance. Maybe, for example, if I'm in China and I'm in China and my co-worker is in US, we still can communicate instantly because the carrier is in the 4G LTE network, and it makes more flexible organization management because PoC we introduced more excellent and specific commanding and dispatch system and basic on the more advanced, more organized management, make the more specific, more professional group organizing or dynamic group be realizable. And thanks to the 4G LTE network and the PoC is essentially based on the Android system and with deeply customization, so we could provide more powerful and more powerful data functions to our customers. And maybe some of you that question about that, the PoC is essentially a smartphone. Our PoC is essentially a combination of the PTT and a smartphone. So why we not use the smartphone directly? Because let me show you. When you use a smartphone to a PTT instant communication, the step one, you need to turn on the screen. Step two, you need to unlock the screen by the fingerprint or password. And in the step three, the next step, you need to find and open the app. And then the step four, you can start to talk. The operation is quite complex because it takes at least 4 steps to start a talk, not like the traditional, the PTT, just you push, you talk. Second one, because the smartphone usually known on the street industrial design, so the audio quality is lower, and usually the audio power is like 0.5 volt or maximum 1 volt. So which is not enough, it's not long enough in the outdoor field, especially in some lousy environment. So you cannot hear, and what your coworker to talk to you. So you cannot work with this kind of equipment. Also, the battery is insufficient, and the battery of the smartphone usually cannot be detachable because of the consumer level industrial design, and the battery should could last at least at maximally like 8 hours, and the battery could not detach. So the consistent working time is not enough. And both of us know that the smartphone is quite vulnerable, even with protection shield. And if you carry them in the outfield environment, if you carelessly drop it in the ground, it will be easily to break. So that's why we could not use the smartphone to instead of the professional PoC terminals. Okay, then we will see the Hytera PoC solution consists of the system as well as the terminals. This picture has vividly demonstrated the total solution of PoC. The upper part of it is the system consists of commanding and dispatching, recording and playback, and mobile device management, as well as system management and operation. And the lower part demonstrated the total family of the PoC and handside, or also as we know, and the terminals. And from the smallest one and to the latest 5G terminals, as well as the dual model PoC terminals that both the PoC, the PTT on the LTE or PTT on the traditional DMR or heterogeneous in one hand side. So I will introduce them, and I will give more detailed information in the following slides. First, Let's take a look at the Hytera PoC system. The most invaluable and the most important services we provide for PoC is tracking services. And by install the professional tracking app on the hand side, it will provide the following abundant functions, such as the both voice and video, both in the full or half duplex in private call, as well as in the group call, as well as we could upload the data in the terminals, real-timely upload to the dispatcher in the center, including the video, including the photos, and files, and so on. And we also all of the hand side is with the SOS emergency button, which is that if you push it, your location and other related information will real-timely demonstrated in the dispatching system, and you could also share with the partners or the workers in the centers your location, as well as SDS, the short data service SDS store, as well as and in the terminal, you could, and if in some special situation, you could organize a temporary group in 2 hours for flexible talking, as well as you could push the video on the terminal to the server. And the later entries that means that you could enter in the lasting group call, and you could read the status message from the smart MDM, as well as that you can record the voice call or video call for preventing some important information linking. Then we see that what can the commander and dispatching system bring to us. First one, it could demonstrate the detailed user status, and it could demonstrate each user's location and trace back to look at the history of the location. And it could organize a dynamic call from the center and dispatch it to corresponding the core workers. It could be make the broadcast call to all the users by voice or video, and it could be realizing the real-timely pooling and forwarding the videos, and it could also realizing the ambience listening or viewing, but without talking, and it's capable of calling a monitor or interrupting of a call, as well as it could realize electrical forcing on the map, that if the users is out of the map, it will give an alarm to the users, and it could be recording the call and playback the voice call or video call, and also it could realize to remotely to stun or kill the users to prevent the missing of the equipment that cause big problems. Then we see the mobile device management realized by smart MDM. And it is for the remotely controlled and for upgrading, and it's for the security perspective, it could using the remote upgrading for the firmware installed in the terminal, and it could remote control of the terminal, including to lock the terminal and the user cannot use it anymore or erase the data from the terminal, as well as reset the terminal, as well as close the terminal. And also it could push some important device data to, as well as configuration policies to the users to prevent some misoperation, and it could managing the APPs on the terminals by remote install or uninstall, or it could set the blacklist for the APP. If the, for example, if the set the Google Map in the blacklist, so the user cannot install the Google Map by themselves. And also as well as status monitor, and it could remotely to see the status like the battery usage status, like the storage status, as well as the location status, and so on. And the last one is device function control. It could control some important components on the terminals, such as the camera, such as Wi-Fi, such as Bluetooth, and so on. This is a system operation and management system, and this is for the to simply mention it is for output the important roles of the system and make detailed statistic and output to the users. Okay, to finish the introduction of the system, then here we go to our keynote part of it, and the terminal part. And in this part, I will introduce 4 of our important the terminals from the smallest one to the latest 5G model. This is a PNC 360S terminal layout. It is the smallest and most compact the PoC terminals in our company. And in the left side, you can see the PPT here as PTT button here, as well as the volume buttons here for plus, for minus, and in the front, you could see is a hub. Here is a mic and a speaker with largest 3 watt and with a 1.77 inch screen and untouchable antenna. At the bottom, at the top of it is an emergency button. You push it, your location will real-timely upload it to the dispatching system. And at the right side, you could see the standard 2.5 millimeter audio jack, as well as the micro USB 2.0 port for charging. In the back is a battery and a detachable battery, as well as anti-slip the surface. And what features of the terminal we will see later. The design principle of this terminal, first one, is easy to use. First, it's quite small. You can see the comparison of this size of the terminal and my hand. It's quite small. This is a dimension specification and weight specification, and it's a comfortable design. And you could push it, and you could operate it in one hand. For example, if you want to use the emergency button, you just here, and if you want to do it you want to push the PTT just here or here. If you use the left hand here, and if you want to use the right hand, just do it like this. And the volume button is in the same side, so it's quite convenient to operate. And it's easy to use because it is based on the deeply customized the Android system, so it's quite easy to operate, just like a smartphone. Okay, the design principle 2 is extremely tough, small but tough, and in the back is anti-slip texture of the surface. Is easy and comfortable to hold, quite comfortable to hold, and not easy and difficult to slip, and quite easy to grip. And thanks to the 4,000 to the powerful battery in 4,000 mAh, it could lasting around working time could last 40 hours and standard by as well as standing time in the 16 hours. The PTT key that is the most frequently used component for the PoC terminal. And in my laboratory, it will be larger than 400,000 times of pushing of the PTT button. And it also processes some star standards, such as the IP67, which is that include dust proof and 30 minutes in 1 meter depth water, as well as the military standard, latest military standard that it could be drops from the 1.2 meters high and the vibration resistant. And the principle 3 is clear communication. Second is thanks to the 3-watt maximum audio power speaker, as well as holding separation, as well as the anti-magnetic design of the speaker. The voice quite loud and clear, and with noise decrease and distortion decrease, and with 30% package loss tolerance. So all of this design combined could receive a quite loud and clear voices from the partners. And here is the detailed specification of this compact terminal. Okay, I will not read it one by one in this presentation, but leave it as homework to you. Then we see another one, also a compact one, the PNC 380. It's unlike the last one. It is with the full keypad design, and easier for you to text the message, short message. And in the right side, in the left side, also the terminal undetachable terminals, undetachable antenna, and here the programmable key. Here is the most important, the PTT key, volume up, volume down, and the top of it is emergency key. And the full and comfortable keypad, and with powerful speak beneath it. And for the charging is for the micro use. Well, for data transmission with micro USB port and a microphone, and here charging piece here, as well as a standard 3.5 audio jack here. At the bottom, at the back is a 5 amp rear camera, as well as with equipped with flash, as well as a powerful detachable 4,000 mAh battery. And here is the battery latch for detach it. Then we see this is a specification of these terminals. It's quite easy. It's also used as a slim, the light one, but not extreme. So the weight is around less than 200 G. It's 185 G, and full with full key bag, as well as the rear cameras. And it with two micros with 2-watt speakers, and the battery is low. And here is the lightwalk specification, that is the lightwalk format that this terminal supports. And I cannot read it one by one for the specification, leave it as homework. And this terminal is with abundant accessories such as standard accessories like a replaceable 4000 mAh battery, as well as a jump for carry, and as well as a band clip here, as well as a 5 volt the power adapt in 2A standard. And the user could also pay more for the optional accessories like the USB cable, as well as the earphone, in wired and wireless. Then we see a big one, and also a dual model one I have introduced. And here is PTT, as well as the volume 1 and volume up and volume down. As this is a power key, and the toggle is the emergency key, and the detachable turner here is in a DMR terminal, and here is the emergency button. You push it, your location will automatically and real-timely upload to the department center here. And this one is for has two functions. When it is in the DMR module, it is used to adjust the channel and when it is used in the PoC mode, it is used as to turn on and turn off the voices. It's a little bit heavier. Last two terminals for 375 grams. The design principle of this terminal is all-in-one. That in order that to put a traditional DMR, to put as well as a smartphone, as well as a PoC, 3-in-1. To provide you services like traditional DMR services, the PoC services based on the LTE, as well as some more abundant app used on the smartphone Android. The seamless connection for switching from a DM network to an LTE network, or switching from LTE network to the DM network. So you buy one, get two. That's good. Then we will see some features of the terminals. First one is all-in-one devices. Okay, that's a seamless connection. All have these two features I have introduced, and it is in a 5-inch screen, and just quite close to a standard smartphone. So it's quite easy, and user-friendly for you and for the daily operation. But it's tougher than the smartphone because it's with dust-proof and waterproof in the IP68 standard, as well as military standard for the drop test. And based on Android 8.1, it could provide you more abundant services like app, like video services, like the data services, and the dual camera in the back for the photo and video services. This is the detailed specification of this terminal. For the operation system, it's based on Android 8.1, and for the display, it is with a 5-inch display and with 7.7 and 20p resolution. For the camera in the front is 5 MP, and in the rear is 13 MP. And it is support the NFC services and it could the battery is choosable. You could choose the small one for 2,400 mAh, and big one like the 300, 3000, and 500. This is small battery. Okay, then we see the latest, the 5G terminals that we will launch at the beginning of the next year. And from the appearance, it's quite like a standard smartphone, but essentially with a PoC terminal with a PTT button here, and voice up, voice down, and programmable. The button here is for fingerprint, and standard 3.5 millimeter jack audio jack here, and high standard, the dual rear camera, the 8MP and the 48MP here, and the front camera is 8MP, and the battery is also detachable, and in bigger standard 5000 mAh. The feature of this terminal, and first is the user is quite user friendly, more user friendly than the last one. Last one, the 550 is 5-inch, but for the 560 is 6.3 inch. This is the standard smartphone. The smartphone standard. So that means that you operate it, you just like operate a smartphone. It's user friendly and quite easy for you to daily operate. And it is based on the latest Android 12 system, and as well as the NFC platform, supporting for further functional expansion. And for the camera is in HD standard. In the front is 8MP, and back is 8MP and 48MP. So user could send acquire more detailed information like in video or photos to the dispatch center to improve the working efficiency. And this is a terminal based on the 5G. The 5G technology is that with faster internet speed and lower latency, and providing more efficient communication. The battery is featured on the high capacity and detachable. And so what we could say that it will also with self-destruction function. We could this is a customized function, and when the terminal backplane is detached without authentication, and we could install a specific mesh between the terminal and the battery. And if the detach is without authorization, the terminal will be in the stun status, that we cannot send any stun, that the transmitting data function is disabled, but it could still receive the signals. Based on the latest Android 12 OS, we could make more than 20% powerful performance in the last version of Android based on the same platform. And the accessory is reached. We could do it in the vehicle we could choose the cockpit, and when in the outdoor field we could choose a belt chip, and we could choose the wireless earphone with connecting with the terminal with Bluetooth, and we could also equipped with a wireless ring for PTT. That means you put it on the ring and here, and for example, the terminal is here, and you want to do it like this, and here you just put the PTT on the ring to speak like this. This is the specification of these terminals, and we will not, and I will only read it one by one. and you can check it by yourself, because we will share the slides to you after this presentation. Okay, then we will see some important case references in the last part. In China Mobile. China Mobile is the largest service providers in China, and they have large carriers of the traditional DMR for the police station, and they want, but with the improvement of the technology and the trend of the time, they want to introduce the data services. So what they buy is the PDC 550, the dual model terminals for this, and so the more than 10,000 terminals was introduced, and they could use the abundant data services and vital services from the PoC terminals, and they could also use DMR terminals, DMR functions in some remote outdoor environment. That means both broadband and narrowband. And the second is Turkey electrical project, also with the PNC 550 and dispatching and the command center. You see they could real-timely read the information of the video, and for the center, the dispatcher could broadcast to the users. So this is bring about the industry with safety and efficiency. Another project is a municipal project, also in Turkey, is with the PNC 550 and radio communication, and equipped by the policemen for the overspeed checking and other daily operation. And the third project in Turkey is for taxi drivers, and we provide them the C80 and the PoC communication to them to bring the taxi and security industry with efficiency, and they can use it. Communication among the drivers, and as well as communication between the drivers to the center. And then the Thailand we are the strategic cooperative partner with True. True is the very large service provider in Thailand, and we cooperate with them to provide our PoC services and terminals to the police officers in that country. And Qatar, and in Qatar, we cooperated with Vodafone in Qatar on the vertical industries, and such as in the airport, such as in security areas. So, and we provided a reliable voice and loud and clear services to them. And also in Africa, in South Africa, we provide them a terminal called the PNC 370, and as well as PTC. PTC is also another dual mode terminals, and we provide. The T here stands for the Hytera. So this terminal is the combination of Hytera and the cellular services. So we could provide the traditional Hytera services in the remote area, and we can also provide the voice and AVP in one working terminal. So Hytera and PoC in one terminal. Okay, this is my presentation today. Then we will see the questions. Were there a version of PMR 446 for the PDC serial? I think the PDC 550 is okay for this because the frequency is from the 400 to the 470. Okay, yeah. What kind of encryption standard is used for the PNC 360S, AS256? What is the Wi-Fi standard? Yes, BGN in 2.5G. And for the 560 is both 2.5G and 5G. Or 2.4G and 5G, I'm sorry. Does it support Google? Yes, it supports for the Google services because if you use in the latest Android 12 for the 560 it support, but if the services is in Android 11 or lower version, cannot. Does it possible to install my own VUI software? Yes. How many servers are required for in-house PoC server solution? It depends on you. If the terminals is not quite large, number of one or two is enough. But if you want to avoid the damages, the data damages of one server, you can separate the functions. 4 is enough. Okay, I think that's all for today. Okay, thank you very much. If you have any further questions, and my colleagues and I will answer for you by mail. Okay, thank you very much today, and have a nice day. Hytera is always with you. Bye bye.